Hello everyone, day 29. I can't believe it's 29 days. It's like a month if it were February. I don't have any specific goal or lesson I'm trying to teach you today, but I just want to share where I am in the process. Still waiting on confirmation that my surgery will be on August 20th. And that just seems like forever. I have no idea what today's date is. But it's 2 weeks from today, because today's a Friday, and the surgery will be 2 weeks from today. I'm wearing my Vegas lip gloss to make me feel better, because today was a really long day with lots of appointments, not even doctor's appointments, just other things. I hired a cleaning lady, which seems like, she's great, and it just seems like, woohoo, I have a cleaning lady. But I busted my butt last night and this morning straightening up stuff for the cleaning lady so she could dust and vacuum and whatever. So that was tiring. And normally those things wouldn't tire me out. I'm usually much more full of energy, but it's just constant stuff and constant decisions that have to get made and things that have to get done. It's just a lot, and I'm beat. I'm tired. It's not even a matter of sleepy, because I think I'm getting enough sleep now. It's just, there's only so much brain energy I have. And it needs to get focused in certain places. So I guess what I'll share, training someone to take over for your position while you're gone, it's tiring. It's needed. Makes me realize actually how much I do that I didn't even realize that I do, because I have to train someone else to do those things, and it's on day 3 now, and I still feel like it's only a fraction of the stuff that I actually do. And COVID is really getting under my skin. I guess historically, if you're watching this down the road, you can look, but I looked today on my phone to see what the graphs looked like for the number of cases of COVID in the US and in Massachusetts. And I haven't looked at that graph in a really long time because it's been going down. But there's this variant, and there's more cases that are happening of people that are vaccinated against COVID, and they're still getting COVID. And like I said yesterday, my cousin died, which is so from COVID. And it's just so weird. There's so many losses. This pandemic is insane. When I look at it personally, I think there's been my cousin, my aunt, actually my cousin, her mom, from COVID. My other aunt passed away, not from COVID. I had an uncle pass from cancer. My co-anchor on the news passed away. Great surrogate dad in town. Not to me, to my kids. Very important person in town. Had been battling cancer for years. He passed away. That's 7, just off the top of my head. That's a lot of people to pass, and since the end of 2019. And with COVID, you don't have, I guess that's where the direction that this is going in today. With COVID and the pandemic, you don't have a chance to mourn. Because there's no, some of that family that passed away is in Germany, so they're overseas, can't just hop on a plane and go visit them. I'm really grateful that I went to Germany with my kids a few years ago, that my one uncle that passed away, my younger son's middle name, I named after that uncle. And I was glad that my son had a chance to meet his, middle namesake. But he died, and he was young. I mean, by young, I mean like young for someone who's in that generation. I'm not even sure if he was 70 yet. But with the pandemic, you don't, even people that were local, like I haven't had a chance to really mourn the passing of my co-anchor, and that's been really hard. And it's interesting, when she was diagnosed, she had pancreatic cancer, which is a harsh one. And I'm not going to go into too much detail, but the process for me was that I didn't really know how to handle it. I mean, like many people, I know lots of people that have had cancer and unfortunately have seen the process of them, dying. Not from breast cancer. I mean, other cancers. Pancreatic is pretty, when you find out you have pancreatic cancer, it's not a good thing. And it was about a little over a year since her diagnosis. And originally they told her it wasn't going to be that long. And I drove by, I picked up my new glasses today. They're not adjusted right. They're progressives, so I'm getting used to having bifocal, or progressive glasses again. So everything is like, woo, all funky. But they're blue with little brown thingies. They're a little bit different than the other ones. So I have a little bit of a headache as I'm getting used to them. But I was driving back from the eye doctor to pick up my glasses, and I passed her house, and it's so tough because I see that her house is still for sale. And her house was a bed and breakfast. She has, her house is like I can't think of the right word. So much thinking today. It's like a historical home. It's an older home, and it's got like such cool things on the inside, the architecture and the way things are laid out, and like huge fireplace in her kitchen, and the way it was back in the olden days. And it breaks my heart even to drive by it and see that it's still for sale. So I'm like, why isn't someone pick that thing up? Like it was such a gem in town, and so was she. And when she had cancer, I didn't know how to handle it. I mean, I would see her all the time because of us doing the news together. And even when the pandemic shut stuff down, we were still doing the news remotely. I weirdly, I do the news from here, and my backdrop was another fake picture, or not fake picture. I mean, I'm not in New York right now. But this is a setup I had with my tripod and have the teleprompter in front of me and all that stuff. And I just think of how, and being on this couch, and I just think of how much has changed since the pandemic shut things down. That was in March of 2020 when the shutdown happened. So that's about a year and a half. It's crazy. And in a lifetime, or many lifetimes, I mean, something they compare this to the Spanish flu, because there hasn't been something like this in a very, very long time. Anyway, but I do remember how I wasn't sure how to be around her. When it's someone that you find fun-loving, and the pep in their step, and you just kind of get mad that, why did they have to get cancer, I'm understanding more through this whole process that there's just not answers for things a lot, and things just happen. And that fair or unfair, things just happen, whether they're fair or whether they're not. I think, I have friends that I haven't really heard from, and family, since I told them about my diagnosis. And, in one way, absolutely it hurts. But being looking at from the other side, I remember how I was when I found out that my friend had cancer, and I didn't know how to talk to her. I didn't look at her the same way. And I didn't like that about me and about how our relationship was like that. And I mean, now I'm at peace with things. It's been 8 months, I guess. Oops, the TV's gonna pop on. Sorry. Let's shut the TV off. I don't remember what I was saying. I've just been thinking way too much today. But yeah, I didn't know how to act around her, and it was almost like cancer takes over, and the treatment just makes people into somebody that they weren't before, just different. I remember one friend that passed away, and if you're in town, you know who it is because everyone in town pretty much knew him. He started a blog, I believe, putting together recipes for, he had throat cancer. I believe it was throat cancer. But he put together these blogs of recipes for things because he had a trach and, like to, give back to other people. And actually that came in handy for me too. Something happened and I wasn't able to eat. I couldn't eat solid food for a short period of time. I can't even remember why. I feel like it had something to do with my mouth. Oh, with the root canals. They had a root canal on one side. That's what it was. And then I had to have the other one done. And it didn't dawn on me that when they did the other one, they told me don't eat on this side, but that for like however long. And then, until I had the permanent cap put on. And then I had this side done. And they said, well, don't eat on that side. And I'm like, well, if I don't eat on that's how the whole tooth thing started. Totally forgot. They said, don't eat on that side. And then I said, well, don't eat on that side. I'm like, well, how the heck am I supposed to eat? And they're like, use your front teeth. And you know how I chipped this? On a blackberry. Not the phone, the actual berry. I made smoothies because he had recipes for smoothies. So I was making a smoothie with the blender. And, I chopped things up pretty well, whatever. But there were blackberries in it. And I went to drink it. And there was like a little seed or whatever it was that I inadvertently bit with my front tooth. And then now I have this friggin', chip from the blackberry seed. And that's how that story happened. So interesting. But I didn't know him before he had cancer. I just know he gave back to the town very much so, and so many families, by taking pictures, amazing pictures of, it started off mostly as sports games, and then, it was marching band or any other kind of events that were going on. He'd take pictures and he would just capture these moments that, as a parent, if you weren't able to be there, he was like the surrogate parent because he was there, and he'd take those pictures, and no matter what the weather was, he would go if he could. He gave so much back to our town, but I didn't know him before he had cancer. So that's I knew him after he had his trach, and it was hard for him to communicate. But my co-anchor, I knew probably for as long as I've been doing almost the news, 6.5 years or so. And to see how her body and her personality changed because of the treatments, I didn't know how to handle it. So I stepped back a little. And I remember the other guy was mentioning, saying that I'm not going through chemo, and that's not part of the plan right now, or hopefully won't ever be part of the plan, that he said that you get chemo brain, where you just forget things. And I didn't realize that. I mean, most people get overwhelmed at some point and get kind of brain foggy, whatever. But I remember, talking to my friend who did the news with me, like things weren't, nothing had changed. even though for her, so much had changed. And if she forgot stuff or had chemo brain or whatever, I would get frustrated about it. And a lot of that wasn't even really directed towards her. It was more like my frustration with not knowing how to handle the situation. And, you know, like I said, for me, there's, you know, there are people that, family or friends that I thought would be reaching out, and they're not. And I wonder if it's the same thing for them. That it's just like it's too much, or they don't know what to say, or they don't know what to do. And weirdly, being on the opposite side right now, that I'm the one that has cancer. And I mean, today was a perfect day of I'm just rushing from one thing to the next. And when I'm at my appointment, like, I'm on. It's not like I'm being spacey doing what I am. Like, I cleaned up that stuff this morning. The apartment looks real pretty. You know, even the pillows have a little, like, chop thing in them that, you know, this thing to make your pillows look all pretty. And then I went to work, and that was super productive. I got a lot of stuff done. I had another appointment after that for like legal stuff, and it was like boom, boom, boom. Like I was on. And I had another meeting after that through Zoom, and like totally on. And I'm like, all right, gotta go get my glasses. Pay attention, be on. But then the glasses guy said to me, don't you dare drive home with these guys on, because it takes a while to get used to them. Because, you know, everything's kind of like, if you wear glasses and you get new ones and it's a different prescription, everything's a little bit diagonal. You know, when you get out, it's like, woo, what's going on? And he's like, wear your old glasses, put these on when you get home. So in the moment, I'm like, I'm on. But like after that last appointment was done, I was supposed to play tennis. I didn't. I was just too tired. And I'm like, I can't think anymore. I can't make any rational decisions. And, you know, some people are you know, I might tell them, yeah, I'll call you. I've stopped doing that because I know that I won't. And it's not because I'm being mean or anything. It's just like, I can't remember. The amount of reminders on my phone, I'm constantly telling SIRI, if I say it, it might go off, to remind me of something. And then I look at the list and I'm like, I have 20 reminders, which is overwhelming. So then I stop saying it. And then I put it on a Post-it note. And then I have like a whole bunch of Post-it notes. Or I'll put it in the calendar. And then my Google Calendar has so many different things. And then they're overlapping. And it's like, oh my gosh. And a lot of that's just like life, you know. Obviously, I'm trying to get stuff done now before surgery happens. But it's a lot. So I get it now from the other side of being the one who's the patient. That if I say I'm going to call back and I don't, it's not because of any intentional maliciousness or something. It's just like I'll flake. Or if someone says to me, oh, you know, shouldn't be overwhelmed because I offered to come over and help you with X, Y, and Z. If it's not in that moment, I won't remember. I mean, the Facebook group is nice. If the messenger group that I created, because if something does pop up, I can throw it in there, and it got taken care of 1, 2, 3. So like errands are one thing, but stuff like communication, not my forte right now. It's a lot. It's a lot to keep in your head. And I don't know if I've said on here, but I've said privately to people, I'm like, what do people, like, I'm pretty smart as a human. I think I've said that before. Not to be like, you know, woohoo. But I mean, I did well in school, whatever, and have been successful in my careers and stuff. But I'm like, what would happen if someone was just like aloof and doesn't pay attention or just doesn't have the cognitive ability to be able to plan all this stuff? Like, what would that person do? I know they say ignorance is bliss, but there are certain things that you really need to have in place before you go in for major surgery if you're a parent, and especially if you're a single parent. I mean, I guess I care to have my ducks in a row. I think it's the responsible thing to do, you know? But then I do put a pause on it. You know, when people say, did you buy this and did you buy this? I've bought all I can handle buying right now. Like, if anyone's watching this in real time, I don't want to look at Amazon. I don't. Unless it's something frivolous. Like I want to get a Fire Stick. That doesn't require thought, hopefully. I want to get a Fire Stick. I said that I wanted to do that. So yeah, the extra 10 days allows me to look into that. Because that's like something fun, you know? But I don't want to buy any more clothes. I know I'm supposed to buy bras, like the ones that clasp in the front. I have no idea what size. And I know I don't really have to worry about that right now because I don't think anyone will know what size I am until after stuff is done. And from my understanding, they wrap you up in like bandages and stuff anyway in the beginning. So I have Prime, so in a pinch, I could order something. It would be there like 2 days later. But I can't buy anything else. A friend yesterday brought by pillows. Not even that I asked her for pillows. I think I talked about that yesterday. But I'm like, the pillows? Yeah, I needed those. And I was supposed to go either buy them or I thought I had some like underneath the bed somewhere, like in one of those aerospace squashy, where you suck all the air out bags. But I'm like, I don't remember what bed they're in. And the more I'm rushing around, you know, I am still getting sore once in a while. I don't really know what that's about. I'm not thinking too much about it because I imagine, you know, it's the biopsy, I would think, of why it's still like that. And yeah, my boob's going through some crap right now. Like, they need to go. So I'm not overthinking the uncomfortableness. And even for work, I think like, you know, I do finances and HR and stuff. It's not like I'm hauling Home Depot boxes. But I mean, literally, just to have my hands... Oh, I should have angled this better. Whatever. Do I care? I guess I care a little. There. Is that better? That's better. Look how pretty. So coordinated. Anyway. Like, I type. So when, you know, you're typing, your hands are like, you know... just so you can see it. Like, my hands are at a pretty much a 90-degree angle, my elbows, in order to type. And, I don't use armrests really. Whatever, it doesn't really matter. But part of that is because I try to keep myself at, you know, with a good posture, not resting and just whatever. But even just typing and holding your arms at that angle, like after some time, after the biopsies, like it hurt to do that. So I'd have to like switch gears. I have fortunately an ergonomic mouse, so the mouse goes this way instead of this way. So like the mouse doesn't bother me as much because I'm holding it and sliding it in this direction. But I would constantly like switch which chair I'm sitting in to make the angle that I'm typing at different. So even like typing, which like is not hard work, but you know, it is hard to sit there for 4 hours, even with breaks, and type. And it really sucks that I can't tutor. I love tutoring. I mean, I had my time with my middle school math teaching time, you know, and I love tutoring because it's like teaching and it's one-on-one. So I find it like super fulfilling. And the kids that I work with 99% of the time are awesome. And the material I find fun. Like, please give me something with graphing polynomials. You know, I love that. Or graphing quadratics. Graphing quadratics is fun. I don't really like geometry. Factoring polynomials, that's fun. Algebra is just fun for me. And like when I was tutoring, even through the pandemic on Zoom, like as soon as I get the assignment from the student I was working with, I'd be like, yay, time to stop and, you know, factor my polynomials. I don't care if you think I'm a dork. I find that fun. So I'd stop what I was doing and like do that and then come back, whatever. And, but even that, it requires a lot of arm stuff because when I was Zooming, I'd use the setup I have here, my tripod and my phone, so that she could see my paper, and then I'd be Zooming with my laptop camera, and I won't be able to do that. I mean, I'll be on narcotics. I'm certainly not gonna, in the beginning, I'm not gonna tutor someone if I'm not coherent. But the reality is writing is going to be pushing it for me. Writing that much. You know, my typical workday, I can't sit there typing and writing for like 7 hours. It just won't work. Which stinks, because like, I like doing math. I don't know. I'm all over the place. I knew that was going to happen. I had ice cream, but it's 7:45 and I haven't had dinner yet. I'll have a healthy dinner to make up for what I did for the ice cream. I'm just tired. And I wore my little Inspire bracelet that my son got for me, thinking that I'd be inspired, and at times I was. And then I wore my other badass bracelet. I did not wear this to work, so that'd be a little inappropriate. I put it on after work, just to remind me I'm a badass. And that does empower me. But I'm tired, and I forget things. And a lot of the times when I'm looking at my phone and I want to vent or share or whatever, I literally just look at the first 4 or 5 people that are on there and I'm like, oh, who might be around right now? And that's who I respond to. And you know, I've said before that certain people that have been very honest with me and have known me for a while have said that I often put other people first at my own expense, and that was true. And maybe part of this whole lesson is to not do that. You know, not in a snotty way, just in a, you know, right now these two are my number one concern. That's it. Like, I need to be here, you know? I got big things coming up. I know I do. They need to go, the next one needs to go in, and then my life is gonna go bing! For whatever reason, I was said when I turn 52, that's gonna be like my year. And I'm 49, so it's not like it was like, oh, when I turn 50. No, my gut just felt like 52 was gonna be my year. So I don't know what's gonna happen when I'm 52, but I just feel like that's gonna be my time to just like shine. Jazz hands. But for right now, I've got to focus on this. And if I have a mask on, and you're like, why is she wearing a mask if she's vaccinated? I'm like, you know what? I'm wearing a mask because I'm wearing a mask. Stop asking me questions. And please, for the love of God, like, don't be up in my face unless I actually want to give you a hug or something. Some people don't get the idea of personal space, and during COVID, you really have to get personal space. I'm still trying to keep this 6 feet distant thing. If I'm chatting with someone, I don't need to chat with them like right here, you know? Like, leave your space, because I don't need any germs hopping in the sides of my masks or whatever. That's the last thing that I need. If I have someone in my household who gets COVID, I can't have my surgery. So like, it's not even just me, you know, it's the bubbles of people around me too. And it really sucks to have this freaking pandemic going on as long as it has been. I mean, I can bitch and moan about it, but I'm trying to just, I don't know. I have to switch my thinking. I was hoping to come up with something funnier to change my mind, but I might just, I don't know, watch South Park or something. I don't know. Something to distract me, make me laugh. Just a lot. Just a lot. Sorry, getting text in there. Anyway, it's a lot. So I guess the take home is, you know, being on it from both ends of the spectrum, where like I was the friend who had someone going through cancer, and now I'm the person who has cancer, and seeing how that's affecting my family and friends. Yeah, you don't really get it until you go through it. That's the case for a lot of things. And, you know, to have compassion and understanding that you're not gonna get it unless you go through it. And everyone, even then, has their own journey. But just to have some compassion that you don't know what it's like to be in somebody else's shoes, you know? So don't judge them based on their choices. I'm going to be wearing a mask. Even if things were fine right now, I'd still wear a mask because I can't afford to get sick. I can't. And even my voice, like I've been talking so much, my voice gave out yesterday. You know, I'm in Zooms for like 2 hours talking almost the entire time. And my voice is not holding out. So, you know, if I'm not calling back, that might be part of it. I've been doing audio messages, which are great because they're just short, sweet, to the point. I can talk for like a minute or two just to know that like I'm here. So even though like what you're typically used to from someone who's going through cancer, you know, those expectations of that person have to shift a bit. Because they're not the same person. You know, as much as I thought that I saw all these different areas of life and how things function and whatever, like I just have a whole different understanding now of people and relationships and communication. And the best thing I could say is for everybody who's watching, you have to communicate and just be straight, you know? Just be totally straight. No like pussyfooting around. Like you just have to be straight with what's on your mind. If you're pissed off, fine, say you're pissed off. There's no reason for people to try to figure out what the hell you're thinking. Because that doesn't work. You gotta be straight up, you know? People said to me, you know, I really want to help doing this, but this is what's going on. And I'm like, okay, at least I know then what's going on. And I know what to expect and what not to ask you of, and no hard feelings, like you're straight with me, you know? Even about the vaccinations and stuff, you know? If you're not vaccinated, I need to not be around you. Not because of judgment, because I can't get sick. Even though you can get sick if you're vaccinated, but, you know, there's obviously a smaller likelihood. So yeah, just be, you know, I know that you might not get it. And if you're afraid of mind watching, like, I don't expect you to be in my head to get everything that's in my head. But there's a lot in my head right now. And I just ask for your understanding and patience as I go through this. That I'm not the old Jen. I'm a different kind of Jen. And the expectations you might have had of me before, you know, there's only so much I can do right now. Because Tweedledee and Tweedledum, they're the priorities. That's it. Gotta take care of them, and then I can take care of other things. But right now, it's these two. All right, I'm gonna go eat some food and then watch something to not make me think about stuff. And then tomorrow, I'll get my nails done. They're so long, it's crazy. And you know what color I think I'll get? You'll find out next time. I think you know. All right, bye everyone.